What's going on YouTube? It's Fanta. Today, we're talking about the best anime of the 2010s, 2010 to 2019. I never thought to do this before, but let's establish some rules really quickly before we get started. Only shows and movies that I've seen to completion are on the list. Don't worry though, I watch almost everything every single year, so all genres will be represented fairly. There's no restrictions at all on how many times a series can show up on the list, so you may see a sequel series or a follow-up movie if it's good enough. Forget all that though, let's get started and let's have some fun. Let's kick it off with 2010.
We'll have to go with Durarara. This anime had a unique mix of slice of life.
Just ignore that. I keep getting flashbacks to when I was stupider. You know, for some reason my first thought was to call this year a miss, but there were actually a lot of hit shows that came out. We had Durarara, an excellent show with a great ensemble cast. I still love it to this day, although I'm not as high as I was on it a few years ago. Katana Gatsuri and Black Butler don't get enough fanfare from anime fans, but I would recommend them to anyone. They are truly special. We had a couple of my favorite guilty pleasure animes here in Working, Kiss X Sis, and The World God Only Knows. I'm not answering any questions about these shows, let's just move on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time was fine, I guess. It just served as fan service for fans of the older eras, and I guess that's okay. I'm one of those fans anyway. I know everything has its fans, but Dance in the Vampire Bund was awful. Something about it drew me in initially, but it was the most pointless, painful show I might have ever seen. I can't think of many redeeming qualities for it. If we're talking about the best of the best though, the best of the year, of course that goes to The Secret World of Arrietty. Like a lot of Ghibli's movies, this is simply a masterpiece. The word beautiful doesn't even begin to describe this absolute piece of art. And of course it had an emotional, touching story to go along with it. What more is there to say? If you haven't seen it, make it a priority to watch it. On to 2011, and I know I've said this a few times, but this is in contention for one of the best years of anime ever. We had the best Naruto movie, Blood Prison, and one of the better Tekken movies of all time in Blood Vengeance. This is gonna sound weird, but Sacred Star of Milos was originally how I was introduced to Full Metal Alchemist, so it has a special place to me. Three of the amazingly stylish, highly underrated Marvel anime shows released in 2011. Wolverine, Blade, and X-Men. Dead Man Wonderland was good, but it didn't quite live up to the highs of the manga. Probably the most underrated shonen anime of all time started airing in Toriko. If you're a fan of stuff like DBZ or any older shonen anime where there's less concern for rules and power systems and they just fight it out, Toriko is your show. And the way they describe the food they eat makes it sound so delicious too. Bento is one of those out there type of animes. I love it, but I wouldn't recommend it as strongly. Guilty Crown, Future Diary, Persona 4 the animation, and Blue Exorcist were also released. They have fans, I'm just not one of them. For non-action shows, Anohana and Haganai were good. I think most of the Anohana fans disappeared into the ether, so it's okay for me to finally say it was a little overrated. Just a little. The winner of this year is, no surprise, Hunter x Hunter. Most of you probably won't be shocked by this pick. Let's move on to 2012. Wow, this is pitiful. 2012 is the year of slice of life shows. Not that that's a bad thing. We had, please get this off my screen. We had Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, Mysterious Girlfriend X, Kids on the Slope, My Little Monster, and Chunibyo. Now that is a lineup. Shonen fans, y'all weren't suffering too bad. We had Magi, Sword Art Online, and Kuroko, some pure classics. The best show of this year though is going to have to go to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Genuinely, this is one of the best adaptations of a manga ever. It's easy to say that something is near perfect, but this show is really near perfect. Let's knock this out right away. The best anime of 2013 is Attack on Titan. Now don't get me wrong, there were some good shows in 2013, some great ones even. Golden Time was not one of them though. Wow, that joint was bad. But we did have Kill la Kill, Beyond the Boundary, Watamote, one of my personal favorites, and Log Horizon. I think it goes without saying Battle of Gods was a hit. It really went a long way in revitalizing the Dragon Ball franchise. Danganronpa the animation has a soft spot in my heart. It introduced me to that series, and I think it stands on its own as an entertaining anime without relying on fan service. If Attack on Titan didn't come out this year, my pick for 2013 would be my teen romantic comedy Snafu. If anybody ever asked me what romance anime they should start with, this would be one of the top picks. But I would say Attack on Titan ushered in the modern age of anime we're living in now, along with Sword Art Online and another show we'll be talking about later. So it deserves this spot. If I need to explain to you in detail what's good about Attack on Titan, you need to pause this video immediately and go watch it now. Time for 2014, and shh, I need to go over something with you really quickly. I'm gonna say it fast, and I'm only gonna say it once, so pay attention. Tokyo Ghoul, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works,
got killed.
Parasite,
The last
Haikyuu,
the movie.
Your Lie in April,
Space Dandy.
Noragami, and Seven Deadly Sins. Wow, 2014. Wow. I can easily throw in a couple more good ones like Yuki Yuna as a Hero, Terraformers, and Amagi Brilliant Park. This is genuinely very difficult. There are like 4 shows that deserve it. Let's go ahead and give it to No Game, No Life though. Rest in peace to that author. I think this was one of the most interesting and unique concepts for a show I've ever seen, at the time and even to this day. Yes, I've been known to enjoy some fan service isekai weirdo nonsense, sorry about that. On to 2015, and I need to start compressing the list a little bit. 2015 and onward, there are like 12 to 15 amazing shows that I could gush over every year. So what I'll start doing is I'll go over some honorable mentions, then I'll give my top 3. So let's start the honorable mentions off with School Live, a great wholesome slice of life show. Whatever you do, make sure to go in blind. Don't even read the description on the streaming service, just press play. Overlord, Charlotte, and Blood Blockade Battlefront are all in the same tier of slightly overrated to me, but they're all still good. Before we move on to the top 3, I actually have 2 dishonorable mentions I need to throw in there. Let's go with Chivalry of a Failed Knight and Testament of Sister New Devil. Avoid these 2 shows at all costs. Number 3 is Assassination Classroom, a funny and surprisingly touching shonen anime that I thought would end up being bigger. But the story only went as long as it needed to, that's not a bad thing. Number 2 is Death Parade, a great show that has a really strong cast of characters. I don't want to spoil one aspect of this show, so just go in blind if this little preview I'm showing intrigues you at all. Number 1, of course, probably isn't a surprise, is One Punch Man. Season 1 genuinely has some of the greatest animation of all time. The story's pretty simple, but there are great character designs and the fight choreography, the fight scenes are absolutely top tier. Don't think I'm a fan of that format. Let's go back to the old style. 2016 was honestly kind of mid compared to the other years. It wasn't a bad year at all, let me go ahead and make that perfectly clear. We had some amazing shows like Bungo Stray Dogs, Re-Life, Mob Psycho, and oh my goodness, Re:Zero. We had some sleepers in there like Myriad Colors Phantom World, Kuro Makuro, and how do I say this? You Thought There Was Never a Girl Online. I promise you that show is a lot better than it sounds. But again, there's no competition with this. This year goes to My Hero Academia. Earlier in the list, I was talking about the 3 anime that shaped the modern age of anime we're in right now, and here's your third pillar. This show was of such a high quality, such a high caliber. It really influenced the type of shows we get today. We've even heard from some anime directors that if My Hero was not as popular as it was, we may not be getting some of the top anime that we're getting right now. I think it goes without saying why this show is on the list. 2017 is a fight, boy. Land of the Illustrious, Zodiac War, Fate Apocrypha, Kakegurui, and Black Clover? Okay. This year probably had one of the highest densities of trash shows though. Arrow Manga Sensei, Handshakers, Gamers wasn't awful, but it wasn't for me, it was a little disappointing. Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, just ill. Even with all that though, let's give this year to Little Witch Academia. Boy, I know some Black Clover fans are hot in them comments. Little Witch Academia has an unusual sort of quality to it. I guess you would call it charming? It's the same feeling I get when I watch Ghibli movies. This show needs more love. There are so many shows that I wanted to give this 2018 spot to. Originally this was going to Dragon Ball Super Broly, hands down. Then I wanted to give it to Baki. Then I was thinking about giving it to Violet Evergarden. Then I thought about giving it to Darling in the Franxx and I just started laughing. This was the year of the cute anime. School babysitters, How to Keep a Mummy, and to a lesser extent, Teasing Master Takagi put in major work. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, it's kind of concerning how close Gun Gale was to taking this. Like, it was really close. But in the end, we're giving this one to Devilman Crybaby. Unlike the vast majority of shows on this list, this is a show that's only for a select niche audience. If you tried to watch this show and didn't like it, that is perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I won't even ask you to give it another shot. But if you can look past the more simplistic and rough animation and the gratuitous blood and gore, you will find a story that is truly surreal and amazingly beautiful. And finally, on to the last year of this list, and this is hard. This is really hard. Beastars is easily one of the best manga ever, hands down. The anime is not a perfect adaptation. I don't hate 3D. I actually like 3D more than most people, but I honestly don't think it fits Beastars at all. I get why they did it. I mean, who wants to draw fur and feathers flapping in every scene, but it doesn't go. Still, the story of Beastars is so great, any issues like that are just minuscule. Welcome to Demon School Aruma-kun is a really cute show about a human trying to fit into a demon school. I've rewatched it more times than I like to admit. We had We Never Learn and a certain scientific accelerator. We had Fire Force and Dr. Stone. We had Oh Maidens in Your Savage Season and Astra Lost in Space. We had Kengan Ashura, Cannon Busters, and Seven Seeds. And so much more. So, with all that said, I'm going to be giving this 2019 spot to 2 shows, actually. Well, really 1 movie and 1 show. First up, let's go ahead and give it to Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is top to bottom a top 3 animated show of all time. The colors are bright, bold, and beautiful. The character designs are amazing. And that second spot, we're going to be giving that to My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. I don't want this to come as a surprise. This is probably not the last time I'm going to mention this. My Hero Academia Heroes Rising is my favorite anime movie of all time. Not top 3, not top 5. This is my favorite anime movie of all time, no contest. I've never seen something with so much heart and passion before, and the animation is great throughout, but the last 20 minutes are something else. Plus, it's the movie where most of Class 1A actually fights, not the main 3 or 4 where they sometimes throw Ida into. With that, that's gonna bring this list to a close. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you watched this far, tell me what your favorite anime movie is. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications as well so you get notified when new videos come out. And I do polls to determine when the next video is, so make sure to vote on those. Thanks for watching, and watch more anime. By the way, I did see this come up in the comments a little bit. When I call something a hit, I'm just saying it's good. I'm not talking about the popularity. I could care less what someone else thinks about a show that I've seen.